Almost 10 years ago, I saw a film that blew my mind away when I was just a little toddler. This movie I'm going to speak about is probably, among me, probably one of the most legendary movies I've ever seen in my life, along with its books that were actually the inspiration for this film. Almost a decade ago, when I was still a wee little toddler, I saw a movie that was absolutely amazing, written by a man under the name of Frank Miller. And that movie and those books were called Sin City. Of course, by now, after I said that, you're probably going to now say, what's Sin City? If you've never heard of Sin City. Probably now you might know what Sin City is. Sin City is basically, a book series that was, soon adapted into a film made by Robert Rodriguez. And all the books followed their own stories and paths and, different, universal fills that had the characters from other stories actually intervening at points. Almost kind of like, crossed almost. But, just with the intervening characters. But I bet a lot of people don't even know what Sin City is until, just about 3 weeks ago when the second movie finally came out. And, I can actually agree with a lot of people why they're probably wondering, like, what's Sin City? What is this movie? I've never heard of this. Well, I'm here to give my shared thoughts, because I love this movie. And, about 3 weeks ago, I was up in Deep Creek here, like near Cumberland, and I went to go see A Dame to Kill For, which is the new one. And I actually brought the book with me, A Dame to Kill For, to read on my way up there. And I will say this. I was a little bit unsatisfied with the new movie. And, I'm going to share my thoughts about it all. Now, time for some backstory about Sin City, though. Probably the people who do not know what Sin City is. Sin City was a book series written by Frank Miller back in the 90s about, a dark noir city called Basin City, but more preferably known as by, its inhabitants as Sin City, one of the darkest and most obscured places on the earth. Mainly for the fact that it's filled with crime and murder, and a lot of other dark themes. And me as a kid, I never read the books first. I don't have old books. My dad got some of the books after the film, when he first saw the film. I read A Dame to Kill For, Big Fat Kill, Family Values, and Yellow Bastard. And, we didn't get all the other books, sadly. But the initial stories were of 7 books, along with some other ones like The Girl in Red and, Booze, Broads, and Bullets, which were actually 2 stories that were actually left out until the first movie and second movie. And, these books basically had a mass following in my day of being a little toddler. They've died out since then. But what was the movie's focus? The focus of the movie is that they were trying their hardest to try to replicate the feel of the books by following frame by frame and word by word, and they did a good job of it. Until I looked back at some of the stories, they didn't follow completely word by word, but they did a really good and really close, narrowed job for the books and, the movie. They did the books justice with the movie. And I'm happy that Robert Rodriguez did a good job at making the film back in his day, before shit hit the fan. After that, they announced that they were going to make a sequel, called A Dame to Kill For, Sin City 2. And since then, there's been constant delays, and the movie had never came out until just 3 weeks ago. And due to, budget cuts and the loss of money, that's what kind of threw the movie backwards. And even Mickey Rourke, the guy that acts as Marv, kind of even explained his own reasoning behind it. And, me being a fan of, the character Dwight, I will say this, that Josh Brolin did good justice for, Dwight before he got, muffed up by, Manute. But altogether, what is Sin City as a whole? Is it art? Is it a book? Is it something that you just simply look at and say, okay, it's there to be there? It's basically almost like 300. 300 is basically also written by Frank Miller. At least I think so. And it followed the same premise of being a book than a movie. And it had a long span until the actual sequel came out, which is about 2 months ago, to be honest. And, everybody always questioned, like, what was 300 as a whole? Was it a movie or was it a piece of art? And I like to consider Sin City a piece of art, because it was the only book I knew that was actually in black and white cel shade, which I love. And like I said, I like the character Dwight. Dwight is the most badass character I know, along with Marv. And altogether as a whole, I see Sin City mostly as a portrait. A painted portrait of, an LA, noir-esque, graphic novel. And they did a great job with it back in the day. And I'm not here to, be like a hipster or anything saying that it's just art. It was more than just that. It was further than just, a portrait that was painted by a great writer and, actual illustrator. It was something more than that to me. It was more as a part of my childhood than anything. And, looking back at it now, I'm happy that, I can still have that vague memory of Sin City in my mind. And, that's what actually kind of threw me into liking, writing and a lot of my dark writing as well. And, Sin City as a whole is also an inspirational piece to me because of the writing that was delivered by Frank Miller. But everybody's forgotten about it over these years, the past 9 years, since its launch of the film. Because the film is what brought people towards it. That's what brought people to read the books. Since then, only the small fan base of, people actually kept that film alive since the new movie. And, that's the thing. When you wait long enough and a film dies out, people just seem to forget about it. And it just fades away. I mean, everybody's told me that it did bad at the box office because a lot of people didn't remember what it was. And a lot of people said it was a great movie because they didn't know what it was. And I will say that if you do not know what Sin City is, then you can go ahead and see the second movie. Go ahead. You would like it. But if you were to read the books and then watch the first movie, then watch the second movie, you would have second thoughts about it. And that's what I had when I saw the second movie. As I was in that theater watching, I saw something different from what I have read. And as a whole, I should have forgiven Robert Rodriguez for what, choices he might have made in the making of the film. And, altogether, I loved it because I thought it was an alright movie, but as a fan, I didn't like it. Like, a great film as a following to the book. But altogether, like, how I can sum this video up is that Sin City is going to probably fade away in any shortcomings. It's basically a draw of the series now. The new movie might have brought it back in some way, but nobody's going to really remember it or really know it. We have basically people nowadays that just, sit around and stare at their phone on Facebook, and they're going to be like, okay, that seems like a cool movie, and they're going to go watch it, and they're not going to know anything about it. I mean, when I first saw it, I wasn't expecting anything. Then I read the books, and that's what got me hooked on the graphic novels, because of that series. And, as a whole, Sin City is a great book and a great movie. But the sequel should have came out a very long time ago while it was still fresh. Or at least taken some more time on it to make sure it was perfected. Made sure it was as close to the book as possible. And, me as the fan, and maybe some fans that might watch this film are going to probably, watch this video and wonder, am I speaking the truth? Am I being, a whole fan? Am I making a good statement about it? And, all I gotta say is that that's it. I just wanted to talk about the movie because, I love the books, I love the movie, and, that's all I gotta say. And I will be talking about another subject soon, and I do apologize for all the people that are probably wondering where I've been. Just about 2 weeks ago, I actually just started school again. And I've been very, very busy. I've actually been drawn into a challenge for Verizon and stuff. And I've been doing a lot of stuff really, lately. And I will probably bring you all up to speed very soon about the challenge I've been thrown into with Verizon. And I really want to talk to you guys about it, because I bet you would all like to hear about it. And I gotta say thank you all for standing by, waiting for something to come from me. I mean, I've been struggling for the past couple months. I mean, just like, Sunday, my mom got remarried. She's now, remarried, and, life is starting to look up for, her, me, and everybody else. And, I say thank you to all of you for, being patient and waiting for me to talk again. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice day.